as the Afcon of many, many shocks, and we're going into the quarterfinals this weekend. And with that said, a lot of people are hoping that South Africa can be the nation that causes the biggest upset and goes all the way. And as you can see, I'm wearing the jersey, which is an ode to 1996. Repeat what was done then. My name is Mpho Maboi. Joining me is Angie, Khumalo, as well as DJ Naves. We're going to be talking about everything Africa Cup of Nations, or should I say it the right way? The Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations 2023, as well as everything.
You must be correct.
We must be correct.
I get
we
you,
must
I
be
get
correct.
you.
Naves, Angie, thank you very much for being here.
Only a pleasure.
Let's get straight into it.
Yeah.
Morocco, Egypt, Cameroon, Ghana, all gone, right? So these are basically the 5 representatives of the African continent at the 2022 World Cup. All of them are gone, right? Seletina. By some surprise. Yes. Are you surprised though?
I'm always behind Bafana at whatever cost, because I don't think we have another option. Like, we don't have a Bafana B team or C team. We only have one Bafana Bafana. Yeah. So I always hope for the best, but I do leave a big room for disappointment, simply because of just history has taught us that, like, Safa is a very technical place. And
Safa.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, but I always have hope. I always have belief that the guys will do well.
Angie?
I think for me, I'm probably like the rest of the public, the rest of the South African public who love soccer. We leave a lot of room for disappointment. We get surprised when we actually do better than is expected. And I always wonder if at this moment in time, are we riding on how good we've become, or it's just been luck because it's been a tournament of giant killers?
I like to stay on that sentiment, right?
Angie,
That
luck.
No, but wait.
But
you see, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
When you say luck, that has sort of been the public perception where Bafana Bafana is concerned. But at the same time, I think over the past this year and last year, everyone is like, listen, we've had the Springboks do well. We had the cricket making us feel warm and fuzzy, even though not much happened there. But everyone was behind the Proteas, right? We also had the Netball World Cup happening, and Banyana went all the way to the last 16 of the World Cup for the first time. So there's been a nice sentiment where our national teams are concerned.
Yeah.
Is that now rubbing off on Bafana, or are we still holding that little bit of, hey, laba,
You know what? I think that we're Bafana is always judged on a different scale, right? For example,
How do you mean?
the Proteas are consistently choking.
Oh, yeah.
But yet again, they're given chance after chance after chance.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Bafana, we lose 2 games and we're the worst that has ever happened.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to go right. So it's a very unfair scale which they use to judge Bafana. Do I think that they've been winning by luck? No, I don't think so. I think for the first time in the longest time, we've had a Bafana team that consists of so many local players. But also that plays a part in that they see each other, they play against each other all the time. So it becomes a little bit easier then to, build the team and take it forward.
In actual fact, Mpho and I were talking just before we started, because there's been a lot of narrative about, hey, this is Sundowns 11, kanjani, whatever. And she brought something very, very important. And she said, we seem to forget that at the time when Kaizer Chiefs was absolutely annihilating the competition, most of the players that were playing for Bafana Bafana at that time were Kaizer Chiefs players. Yeah. And that helps, the fact that they are there together all the time. They know how the other person plays. It's not a matter of now that the coach is here, all of a sudden we have to make this thing gel. Yeah. 11 players who don't play together on a regular basis are now meant to gel over a short period of time.
You see, even that brings the question around how South African football has evolved, right? So there was a point where Kaizer Chiefs was the team to look at, and Bafana Bafana was comprised of them. And now it is Mamelodi Sundowns, and also the fact that they are playing so consistently on the continent.
Yes. Those things become very important. I don't, if you realize, When Coach Pito said this years ago that big teams play in Africa and win trophies, this is the result of it, because it's not easy, guys. I've traveled once with the team into Africa. It is, when I say it's hard.
It's hard.
You're consistently met with soldiers with big guns.
Yeah.
They like take a 5-minute trip to your hotel, takes you like 8 hours. They take the longest route to the hotel. There's always something that they're pushing back on the continent. So I think that having been consistently playing on the continent for so many years has definitely benefited the nation, and we're seeing the results of it taking place. It's just now, how do we go past this Afcon moving forward and take what's been learned from it as well and implement it?
So let's talk about the overview of South African football and how it's evolved over the years.
Yeah.
Do you think we have gotten better? Because as you mentioned, we've now gone through a period. I think there was a time where we went through over a year of not losing a single game, and even then people still were like, it's Bafana Bafana.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that we are now at the Afcon, having survived the big teams. I mean, we survived Africa's #1 ranked nation.
Yeah, but once again, it goes back to, on the continent, we are Sundowns is a feared team.
Yeah.
And now you have 8 players that will be in the starting lineup that play for Sundowns.
Yeah.
Percy Tau comes also from
the Sundowns.
From the Sundowns
Yeah.
development. It just makes it that much, inverted commas, easier to play and understand. So I think definitely we're developing as a nation. Football is developing. It's just that there's a gap that's being opened, and that's also due to the fact that other teams are not willing, or maybe not willing might be the wrong word, not able to invest.
I was going to say the financial backing.
Well, we can't say that.
Your pockets go deep.
No,
though.
we can't say that, because at some stage, Kaizer Chiefs was half owned by Prime Media.
Yeah.
Right? And the pockets there are deep.
Yeah.
Right?
And how well
Then
were they doing at that time?
they were doing well. Then they
Exactly.
bought back
Yeah.
the percentage, and they're still the best sponsored team in the country. So you cannot at any stage speak about money and not put Kaizer Chiefs in the conversation.
Okay, money aside, can we talk the importance of looking at continental football?
Yes.
Because there was also a point where none of the teams actually took continental football seriously,
Yeah.
even with Pirates having
100%.
won it.
I don't think we understood it.
We didn't understand
We
the
didn't
importance
understand,
of
yes,
it.
and we didn't have the knowledge. I think it took, once again, we really started taking it seriously, even as a team, when Coach Pito said, no,
Yeah.
we must play in Africa. We must dominate Africa. Until we've done that, we are not making a mark on anywhere. And now we're seeing the dominance in Africa taking place, and the results of it are now in an Afcon where people weren't taking you seriously, but now you go and you knock out Morocco.
Yeah.
The same Morocco that beat Portugal.
Yep.
You know, those things now come into play.
You see, even on that, I mean, listening to the post-match analysis from the players themselves, the importance of how Coach Hugo Broos has actually taught them to look at games and their opponents tactically, not just from a fan perspective, because sometimes it's that thing, you would, look at Ashraf Hakimi, he's playing like this. But now you know that going up a Hakimi, up against a Hakimi, this is how I can take him out of the game.
Yeah, but I also just think like a lot of it is hype that he plays for PSG.
Yes, of
like,
course.
I don't think he's like the best right back in the world. You know, I don't think that you're going there and you're like, you know, I just think as well the hype of the team that you come for plays a major role in the game. I mean, would you say he was like
No, he wasn't
extremely-
impactful.
He wasn't impactful.
He wasn't.
At
He
all.
wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, even a Mo Salah wasn't impactful for Egypt as it is.
I know. Also, I think with the opportunity of playing in Africa and playing regularly in that sphere, it takes away, because I also feel beforehand we used to approach them like, whoa. But we feel as if we are toe-to-toe with them now,
Yeah.
which is something that is a late development in the last few years as far as South African football is concerned, not just the Bafana Bafana camp, but also the PSL themselves.
Yeah.
They feel like we are competitive, we are peers.
Yeah.
I'm not going into the pitch and thinking, oh my gosh, Mo Salah,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Because now I've tested myself and have been tested on the continent, so I know what it is that I can bring to the table.
I guess, as Naves says, it's because you have these players that are playing in Europe So now, because we are mainly based on local players, and yes, there is your Lyle Fosters,
Yeah.
there is your Percy Taus, and so on and so forth. But now we are at the point where, yes, everyone is touting us as the underdog.
Yeah.
Are we really?
No.
No. I don't.
The fact that the coach of Morocco, before even the match took place, was saying that we are going towards a match with a South African side that is full of fantastic players, of great players. So the fact that he himself is not saying, we're going to walk
I mean,
in
he
there.
himself had to force CAF to bring him back to the game.
There we go.
After he was suspended.
There we go. So I actually, it's gone better than I expected, I must say. And I heard someone in the one of the analysts say during the week that it's also looking at how it's no longer a North Africa are going to
North
dominate
Africans are
Afcon.
There was a West African tenure, then we had a North African tenure. Maybe now it's the time for SADC.
Yeah, definitely. I also think, like, even with SADC, I mean, you've seen it with the COSAFA Cup when those games play. You see the level of football, and you see that even the people from the region, how well they're playing, whether it's fighting for contracts, whatever the case is, but the football is amazing to watch.
So overall, your evaluation of Coach Hugo Broos's coaching tenure, he celebrated 1,000 days in charge of Bafana when we played against Morocco. So
let me be honest with you. I'm not a fan.
you know why you're not a fan?
Why?
Because akaspice ke lemsethu.
No, not even.
Even as a country, akasinengi uHugo.
No, I sit in a fortunate position of getting to watch Rulani football week in, week out. And I can tell you now that in terms of like tactics and that sort of thing, the gap between the younger coaches and the older coaches is getting bigger. I mean, it's gone down to when they analyze players, they'll tell you that, for example, Hakimi touches the ball 12 times on his left and he does 4 on the right.
Yes.
So if you're a marker, make sure that you cover the left, because out of the
That's
20
his
passes that is,
predominant.
yes, they've gone down to that. The ratio of saying left to right is 60-40 or 70-30. So I just don't think, and I've also had conversations with people that have been around the coach, and there's guys who are great motivators and tactically they're not strong, but they will support that with their bench. So you'll have an assistant coach that is immense, like in tactics and that sort of thing. So I'm not a fan, and I really don't think as a coach you should shoot from the hip, right? So you can't come and say, no, Temba's one is too old. And then come back to us and say only a fool never changes his mind. We knew you were a fool from the start.
But
We
with
knew
that
then.
said,
Okay.
with that said, I've always respected people who have the ability to change their minds and see the error of their ways.
I've always respected people who can bite their lips, survey, see what's happening, understand what's happening, then come back and say something. But right now you're like saying, no, we don't need this guy. Then you call him back and he's performing. Now you must,
And now you're singing his praises.
Who?
Yes.
Yeah, no, Hugo
No,
Broos,
I'm singing
he's-
Bafana Bafana
No,
praises.
he
Yeah,
is
now-
singing
Oh, okay,
Temba's
yeah.
praises.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Soprano even.
Because he's seen the error of his ways.
I don't dispute, like, it's great that he's changed his mind. It's working for the nation. But it shouldn't have got there in the first place. He should have said, I am trying something different.
Yeah, we also
But
hate
also
this.
we are Africans, they're Europeans.
Yeah.
We operate differently.
I was about to say, I feel as though when you look at how European coaches come to the African continent, right? For one, on the African continent, we are not shy to tell you, Uguti, we think you are not coaching in the right way. This is how you need to coach us. We are Africans. We know African football. You know nothing. You are European, right? So he already came here with that mentality of knowing that even though he has won the Afcon before, he is going to have to prove himself from the very beginning, right? So he was already, I feel like
Defensive.
he was very defensive, right?
Yeah.
Because his first few, press conferences, they became hectic. They really became hectic. But I think it's because he so desperately wanted to prove himself. Yes, he
Granted.
didn't maybe go the right way by taking the most popular players.
Yeah.
But at the
No,
same
no,
time,
no, no, no,
No,
no.
it's the
Withdraw
truth,
that
though.
because
Waiting.
she must withdraw that because being popular versus being a quality player that proves himself are worlds apart. So you could be popular.
I think the Colin
but
Black
you don't
label
deliver.
has proven us
Yeah,
that
but-
popularity
that's
works.
so. For example, what do we get out of the Colin Black label?
It
card?
doesn't matter. Fact is,
You see, and that's the
popularity
problem.
is a sentiment.
That's the problem. I am happy to stay out of that because what's happening there? What are we doing here?
Okay, so you are not a fan of that.
Hugo.
I'm not a fan of Hugo. I'm not a fan of popularity contests.
But would you be a fan of the fact that when he makes a decision, he sticks to it, popular or not?
Oh, well, he's in charge. He's the coach. He's been employed by SAFA. So what are we going to say? What are we going to say? He must. He's been employed by SAFA to do the job. And
But South African media has been known to fire you now.
100%. But also, if you realize that Hugo's comments have toned down on SAFA.
They have.
And the attack is now where? PSL and everybody else.
Yes, yes.
Why do you think that is?
You tell us.
Matters of the stomach, my sister. Matters of the stomach. I'm telling you, they've sat him down and they've told him, lay off us.
Listen.
Let's blame those ones
Yeah.
so that we can, keep this thing going.
Okay. So coming into this big game, what should he do? Keep. Is it a matter of if it's not broken, don't fix it?
Yeah, but-
Or do we again try and surprise? Because that's what we did. We played Mali, we failed because we were utilizing a particular style of play. And then we decided against Namibia, we're going to go direct. There's no build-up play. We managed to score 4 goals, right? And Tunisia, we decided, you know what, we are okay. You could tell from the jump we were playing for a throw. And we were happy with that, right?
I think the Tunisia game was a very tactical game.
But we
Like,
cancelled each other out.
100%.
And at some point it was okay.
100%.
We could tell what
the
we were
tactics
happy.
took over the
Yes.
football, yeah.
We were happy,
Yeah.
right? Now we've managed to defeat Morocco, and also there was a tactical game gotten spot on, right? Going into the quarterfinals. Senzani.
Cape Verde, first of all, they've done so well.
I think they're tricky.
They're a very tricky team, but also, once again, this goes back to show you what can happen with football if you invest in the right places. So, about 10 years ago, they invested heavily into their football. They sent players
Because
overseas.
remember
Yeah.
when they started when they became a thing on the African
Yes.
continent, was full of teachers and
Exactly.
policemen
Yes.
and whatnot. Yeah.
And they invested in academies and getting their players out to go play in the USA, to play wherever they could get them outside of Cape Verde, just so that they could get that experience. But also they've come with a very interesting game plan, lots of running, and like those guys are all dying on the field for
Yeah.
their country.
Yeah.
So I'd have to agree with it's not broken.
Don't fix it.
Don't fix it. We just need to then plan according to the team because they are a far much more pacier team with the ball, and they utilize it well. It's then to say, okay, when they don't have the ball, what are we doing?
I don't want to dwell too much on the tactics, but I'm loving the point that you've brought up about how Cabo Verde decided, you know what, we are building towards our future. We're
Yeah.
going to take our players, we're going to develop them further, we're going to take them overseas. This is something that Coach Hugo Broos has actually brought about
Very
now
good
to
at
say, listen, because ahead of after the Morocco game, they asked him, what is the importance of us going as far as possible within this particular Afcon? And he said it's great for South African football because one, we're getting exposed to football at the highest level. The exposure that our players are getting, hopefully a lot more of them will go play overseas.
Yeah.
But also it then says to the players, if I want to be at this level, I need to take my own game up to that particular level. Do you agree, or do you feel like just do your job and just
Just do your job. No. I think he's very right in the fact that I feel when they come back into the fold of the different teams and the PSL does kick off again, I think they'll be buoyed by this break that they've had,
Yeah.
the PSL players
Yeah.
themselves. They're going to be buoyed by having sat for a month and a half watching African football at its absolute height.
Yeah.
And I think the last few months of the PSL, we are going to be seeing PSL players taking their game a little higher.
Uyahleka.
Ah,
Naves, you
no,
don't
Angithi,
agree.
he's-
Naves agree.
He just thinks ukuthi there's no matching his team. That's the problem.
No. Anybody can be matched. Football is a tricky sport. Mine are therefore. Therefore,
Yeah.
you consistently think we've got this one, and you come out of there with a lousy 1-0 loss. lousy.
True,
And it's a lousy goal that you guys have probably
In the
seen.
93rd minute.
You've seen your team defend this stuff. Then,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think if I look back and think back, I think after we won Afcon, a lot of the players got a chance, back in that era, got a chance to go overseas.
Oh, yes.
So I think it's very important that we do make it to the highest stage. And also, I think the biggest problem, and it's always been something that is spoken of, the reason a lot of teams or a lot of scouts don't come here is because it's so far.
Yeah.
You know, it's easier to fly from London to Nigeria, but to come all the way down here, it's the flight is longer. So it becomes that much more difficult to then expose the talent to the world. That's why then you need to start playing and doing well in Afcon. You need to win Champions League so you can go to the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
You need to.
Yeah.
These things then also they'll then say to guys, no man, something is happening down south. Let's go down south and see what's available and take it from there.
But there's also that sentiment that South Africans have that South African footballers are too comfortable being here because you're earning big money. Why would you want to go overseas? That's why we don't have players playing overseas.
You know, the money talk is very tricky because if you look at it, right, and they send you, let's say they send you to anywhere in Europe, and the salary is similar to what you'd be getting at home. But then you work out the cost of living.
Yes.
And you sit there and you're like, but I've gone
I'm
overseas.
better off here.
no,
I'm
much
better
less
off here
sustainable.
because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all those things become important because it's not that they're comfortable. It's just the numbers don't add up. And we can't just think about, milling your urkant and then I'm sitting urkant, but whereas
yes.
I would have been better off at home.
So it's almost like a Percy Tau, was it Birmingham or Bournemouth? Bournemouth versus going to Egypt.
Yeah.
So it's similar to that. Let's get back to the Africa Cup of Nations and Bafana.
Yeah.
How far do you see us going?
Reality. Okay.
Reality.
Where my heart-
Give me two views. Reality and your sentiment.
My heart says that we're going to win it.
Okay.
We're
My
going to
heart.
win the actual Afcon.
My heart says we're going to win it.
She thinks so too.
My heart says we're going to win it. But also, I don't have another choice.
You don't have an
I have to believe in Bafana.
Which other team you can't support him?
I can't. I have to support Bafana. But we're going to win it. I'm going to leave it at that. My heart is we are going to win this thing.
Okay,
There's
what-
no room for anything else.
What do you think, Angie?
I actually, what you said earlier, because I mean, I'm always like erring on the side of caution.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not fully sold yet.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be one of the naysayers who are going to be supportive into each and every game without actually raising my hopes too much.
Where? Guys, we need to
But
be
also-
sending positive energy.
Let me tell you, Angie used to walk around wearing another team's T-shirt. And when they asked, do you support the team? She said, no, it was a gift. So that's what we're dealing with here.
Yabonage. And this now leads me to another very important point. So if we make it into the semi-final, when we make it into
Thank
the
you.
semi-finals,
I was about to say, don't be
there
an Angie.
is the matter of Angola versus Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice for us to have Angola do us a favor because Nigeria is a hoodoo team. Yes, they're in a rebuilding phase, Naves.
No.
But
No.
this is Nigeria.
We went to Nigeria and we beat them in Nigeria.
fine. It was
No,
not at
I don't want
Afcon.
favors.
It was not at Afcon.
We don't need favors. We don't need favors. We're going to do this thing the hard or the easy way, but we're going to win this thing. We don't need favors. Bring on.
Angola, whatever.
Man, you could have
With
brought.
or
I wanted
without
Senegal. I wanted Morocco. I wanted all of them to line up like this,
Smash
one
fire,
after
boy.
the other, one by one.
In the words of
I don't want
Kile Bata,
one by one. I don't want people to say you guys won it because
Yeah,
you
you
didn't
were
face
done a
this.
favor.
No, want to win this thing.
Okay, your ultimate final then?
No, it was Bafana winning it. Doesn't
No,
matter.
who?
Don't
Who do
care.
you want?
Doesn't matter. I want Bafana to win it. That's all I care about.
Hey, Angie, who do you want in the final? Who would be your ideal?
I'm gonna be
candidate
going with him.
in
It's
the
okay.
final?
No, I like his passion.
No.
He's won me over.
It doesn't matter who we face. We must win. That's the bottom line.
So whether it's a David versus Goliath, whether
Emina.
it's a David versus David,
Emina.
Goliath
Re
versus
ba batla one
Goliath.
by one. Ke batla ba tle ba tshwere Pastor Mboro. We are ready. I want them to fetch whoever they must fetch. We want them.
What's your quarterfinal prediction?
We're definitely going to win it 2-1.
Yo, that's confident. I like it.
2-1.
2-0.
In fact, even nearly one that's why Manika.
Guys, Marasanga underestimated.
I don't, and I said I was the first one to say this might be our toughest challenge.
Yeah.
But
and that I agree with.
believe we will overcome it. And also bearing in mind, I don't think Bafana have ever given Cape Verde like hands,
hiding.
yeah, comfortably.
No, because the last two times that we
We've
played
lost.
in 2018, we lost the home and away.
That was 2018.
Now we're cooking now.
Mara 2018.
Lord
No, but
Mvala,
wait.
we're
Let's
cooking.
go back to literally what you said earlier on about Cabo Verde,
Yeah.
right? When we played them in 2018,
Yeah.
this was a Cabo Verde that was
were
just
still in
taking
development
right?
Yes.
They were still in development.
Yes.
They have developed now.
Agreed. But the players that were playing for Bafana then are not the same players that now. And the players now are far much more tactically astute. Far more. They live football.
Do you see us going into extra time, or do you see it dying within 90?
No, we must finish
do you see
it in
going
90.
to penalties?
90.
I ngeke sifike kuma-penalties.
90 minutes, this thing is over.
So what if it doesn't end in 90 minutes? Do we have
We
the
are
stamina
going-
to take it all the way to 120?
No, but that's a great part about the subs. You can do up to, I think it's five.
Yeah.
Five subs. I mean, that's a new team. We refresh the team. And you must remember, so when you look at it, where we're gaining kilometers, the two central midfielders have lots of kilometers on them. And also it's that triangle that's
Yeah.
going forward.
Yes.
But when you look at the back four and the other four, so Evidence, Percy, and Morena, their load hasn't been as tough as
True.
that triangle in the middle. So I don't think it's easy is the wrong word, but it will be easy to fix it. So if we see that they're tiring out, we can drop them, add Monare, add whoever we need to add to give us a different dimension going forward. And also, we haven't started using the pace of those Stellenbosch players.
We
So
haven't.
I think it's going to come in handy. Definitely going to come in handy.
This is going to be interesting.
We are ready, man. Don't doubt us. Don't doubt us.
Okay, fine. I'm not going to doubt it. Your final message to the nation, to Bafana.
100%. We're definitely winning it. I think we must stand behind Bafana the way we stand behind all other national sporting codes. And Bafana will represent us. They'll do us well. I don't think at any stage any of these players leave their families, leave their homes to go and not do their best. And I think they've shown it. They've shown the heart. They've shown that they can do it. And I think they're going to do exactly that.
Done.
Win
Angie?
it.
I think if you have not been won over by Bafana Bafana in this Afcon, you never will. Because we've seen the kind of tenacity and the kind of drive and the kind of never say die attitude that I don't think we've seen in a very long time. So whether they go all the way to winning it or not, I feel as if they've done enough for us to get behind them.
I agree with you completely.
And also, if the president gives us a public holiday, if you didn't support Bafana, you must go to work.
Wow! Wait,
don't-
say that
We
again.
don't want freeloaders here.
Say that
If you
again.
didn't support Bafana and we get a public holiday, you must go to work on that day. Ambo
But so,
Sevens.
how are we going to know these people?
We know them. We're going to call them out.
Very loud.
They are very loud. Very, very loud. We know them.
Guys, as in hectic, and I need to.
No.
But honestly, on a serious note, I really personally think we're going to go all the way. I
Yeah.
think if there was ever an AFCON where we are going to take the final trophy, it is this one.
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned at the beginning, you have all the so-called big guns out. The road, the path is clear for us. The only one that I think might be a stumbling block in Nigeria, I still maintain. Mara, with that said, I believe that this was the, in your words, the AFCON where we showed a lot of gees, because even when you lose, I think I would want to see that fight,
Mpho.
that grit in you.
I don't
and
want
we've
you-
seen it.
I don't want you to underestimate Angola.
I'm not underestimating.
I'll tell you why. there's a team from there, Pedro something.
Yeah. Pedro de Luanda.
Yes.
Yes.
We caught hands, eh?
Yes.
We caught
Yes,
hands.
I remember that.
all
I remember that.
We caught hands.
Yeah.
So there's football there. There's football. I want Nigeria. In fact, I'm more confident now that I want Nigeria. Think about it. Let's look at Champions League. And I know you were wrapping up. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
Which Nigerian team has been performing for Champions League?
None.
But Pedro's been there.
Yes, they have.
I want Nigeria.
Consistently.
You see now you're making me think. I want Nigeria. Give us Nigeria.
Well, let us hope for Nigeria after this weekend because I know you actually just reminded me of Pedro de Luanda.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so very much.
Pleasure.
I really do appreciate this. I hope we do it again.
Definitely.
In the final. When we're going to the final, we're doing this again. Eh?
Definitely.
Definitely. That is DJ Naves. That is Angie Khumalo. My name is Mpho Maboi. Let us go out in our numbers. Support the boys because, hey, it's been a long time since we won this. 28 years since
I
we
might
last
be
won
at the
it.
final.
Really?
Yeah.
Flexing. Yes, when you're,
No
no,
way,
you,
nah.
you know when the president of your club is
No,
president.
no,
Yes.
no.
Fuck.
Our president is not involved in football matters there. He's left
What do
it
you mean?
to the chepe.
Mara, he's president of CAF. Angisho.
Yes, but he's
So-
not involved in
So
the
how
other
will
side.
you get to the final?
I'm
if
going
not
to pay for myself.
Namanga.
Hey, cause anginamsebenzi ngithi anginamali. Don't take me light, guys. Cause anginamsebenzi uthatha kancane. Wasn't khona nokufika la. Anginamsebenzi. I'm free.
So are you putting myself and Angie in your bag?
Listen, guys, asambeni. Let's go, man. Let's go. Bafana is in the final. We are going there.
Yeah, if president
No, president has got nothing to do with this.
In
In fact, guys,
offline, it's fine.
in fact, I think that as a sports journalist or anybody in sports right now is the best time to try and get onto the continent, try and do work there, because as you have said, the former president of Mamelodi Sundowns, the president of CAF, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, is leading the way, is opening doors, and I think this is the
But
opportunity.
you know what? Speaking of Dr. Patrice,
Yeah.
my favorite moment was the 2 goals that were made from Mamelodi Sundowns, right? And how he sat there wanting to be neutral because I'm president of CAF.
Yeah.
But hey, Jabulile, man.
South African.
I'm South African. I'm
You
happy.
can never take that away.
But
You can never take that away.
That must have been such a difficult
Thing to
moment
do,
for
right?
him.
Hence why I always insist that if you go to the game and you have a lopsided view on the game,
Yeah.
don't sit in the box with the lights. I'm
You
always
must be in the dark.
I'm in the
But you're
dark.
president of CAF. You can't be in
And
the
that's
dark.
I would have put on a mask. You're like, hey, COVID, hey.
Guys, we're busy going. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's do it again when we get to the finals from the 3 of us. 10 p.m.
Yeah.
That's the time to watch. The whole nation is going to be watching on Saturday as Bafana Bafana face off against Cape Verde in the quarterfinals, preparing to go into the semifinals for the first time in 24 years. And we're going to do it. In fact, we're going to the finals. Bye-bye.